me with that find, and I was just elated for you. You want to tell people about that day, and maybe a little kind of about the history of the property, or whatever you want to tell about that, and tell people about that amazing find.
Well, Grizz and I have been working on relationships. I mean, around Fayetteville, first of all, Fayetteville itself, Sherman came through in 1861 and took over the Fayetteville Arsenal. And then he came back in 1865 and kind of hung out, burnt the bridge. He didn't really like the owner and editor of the Fayetteville Observer because, for obvious reasons. And so he made sure he burned that. But so Fayetteville has stuff. And then they went to Aversboro, which is probably 15 miles away. Then they went on to Bentonville, Goldsboro, and so there's a lot of Civil War history around here. So Grizz, Jim Grzmowski, I had went to a hunt with North Carolina dirt detectives with Jeffrey James and Adam, and they had a seated hunt, and I met him there. So he became my partner because he kind of tracked me down and said, hey, do you have a partner? And I said, no. So we've been establishing relationships, and one thing that I can say about all areas, y'all, is that getting to know the older farmers in your area, one of the things we like to do is if we don't know an old farm implement from the 1860s or 1880s, like they love it when we show them stuff and ask them about things, because then you hear about where there's old roads and stuff. So we were working next to an old road, and we had gotten a couple of buttons, and of course, take the trash, because it cleans out an area. And I was like, oh, maybe I got a bullet. Oh, maybe, I don't know what it is, but it's a good signal. And I saw it laying in the side, and I called Grizz over, and he popped it out at the side. And oh my God, y'all, it was like, and I never thought I would get one of these either. Like, I'm just so surprised all the time. You know what I mean? And it was a complete, intact, gorgeous belt plate with the lead on the back, with the hooks on the back. And he had got a North Carolina button not far from there. So I was just absolutely blown away again of the fact that it just never occurred to me. I just like getting out there, And I was just like, wow, it was like finding the CS buckle all over again. I mean, I've been blessed and highly favored for 4 years of the stuff that I've been fortunate enough to find, and have given the homeowners things that I don't even have myself. But that's the deal. That's how we roll.
Yeah.
If the homeowner wants it, they can have it. I get the picture, I'm good. So is Grizz.
Right.
But yeah, U.S. plate.
That's epic. That is such an epic find. It's on my bucket list. It's kind of one of my white whales. I mean, I've found the Eagle officer's belt buckle, but not the U.S. buckle. So it's definitely on my list. I know you found some pretty killer buttons, too. Can you tell us about some of those?
I love buttons. We'll work for buttons. The first year I moved here, I just delved into, looking up the old Campbellton town, and the first arsenal was probably less than a mile and a half from my house in 1832. And I just started asking permission from people. And I'm a trash digger, because I just believe that, if I take absolutely everything, something's going to show up. So I was very fortunate that first year when I got my house that I found 60 buttons, and I only got one Illinois post-war, and I only got that year one infantry button, Union infantry button. And then the rest were found elsewhere a manuscript button, 2-piece manuscript button, a 1-piece eye block, and then right before I had to go back home to Mama last year, I pulled a 1-piece South Carolina button. So, like I said, that's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's just crazy how lucky I am.
Yeah,
It's certainly not.
You go ahead.
It's certainly not, being, this awesome metal detector. It's just the luck of the swing. That's what I call it. It's a vibe. It's a feeling. Let's go here. I got a good vibe. That vibe has been working for me since Florida.
I was going to say, it must have been working too on the day that you got the cat bust dime. Now that's on my list.
You know what? That's my second one.
Oh, is it really?
Because, yeah, that's crazy. I was invited on North Carolina Dirt Diggers Dig with the original crew. I think there's like 8 of us, Scott Pierce, Sean, Jeffrey James, Adam, Vic Weston, when they started that group, and they invited me up, and one of the houses was Robert E. Lee's sister's house, and then there was another plantation house, and then there was this old ratty fallen down house. So I asked Adam, I said, "You guys find anything in that yard?" He said, "No." So I pulled out about 4 or 5 gluten-free wheats, and then I was walking to the front, and I'm like, I want to check under this bush. So I took a swipe. I dug it up. I was so nervous and excited, I never even got the dirt off it. And I'm like, and then I put it in my pocket, and I ran down to Adam and Jeff, because I was a beach hunter, right? And I said, "I think I got a barber. I think I got a barber." And he uncovered it, and it was an 1814 cat bust dime.
Holy cow.
Isn't that crazy? And then I just got one at one of our permissions like a couple weeks ago. We invited Paul into our small group, and he watched me pop it out. And then a week later, I watched him get a half dime on the same property, like 14 inches down.
Oof.
So, yeah, like, it's just crazy. I mean, I'm like a little kid, okay? I just can't wait for the next surprise. Well, mainly I'm like a little kid because, I need naps.
So, which detector were you using when you found your belt buckle, if you don't mind?
In both cases, actually, I have to go look back at the magazine. I think I found the CS buckle with the AT Pro, but I found that other buckle with the Garrett AT Gold with the 5x9 foil that it comes with. So they're both great machines, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, could you tell our audience about the different detectors you have now? I know you have more than one, so tell us about each different detector maybe, and what you like about each one, and maybe about some of your favorite finds with those detectors.
Well, my longtime friend, actually, I have an extra one in case people want to go, or like, homeowners have grandkids. Grizz and I are always willing to take them out. So I have one that I bought like in 2008 or 2009, was a MindLab 505. And that was actually I found a lot of stuff with that when my Excaliburs were down. I have double D coil on the 505, which I can, to this day, still hunt the beaches with and still dig, dimes from like 25 inches down, at least, on the Florida beaches. So that's probably my oldest in my arsenal. And then actually Jimmy Crossbones let me borrow one of his CTX 3030s. When he got his, he bought 2. So I got to try that out in Kissimmee, Florida. And then I got one at a pawn shop for like a third of the price. And I still have it. And I like to use that one on the beaches. Then I bought a simplex, which I took to a friend in Corinth with Gypsy this year, because she's always wanted to try it, and the only reason I really bought the simplex was because it was a cheap waterproof one.
Mm-hmm.
So on my birthday a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I bought the AT Pro, which is great for, everything. It's a great machine. It's solid. It's 15 kilohertz. And then I was looking at getting another one. So the Garrett AT Gold is actually 18 kilohertz. And a lot of people, that might be too high tech for them, but 18 kilohertz is a good number, in my opinion. I found, two sweet buckles, and a crunkled up breastplate. I think I got that last year, that I was able to unfold, and it wasn't trash. So look at your aluminum,
you found
y'all.
all those, right? Check those finds. You found all those 3 finds with your Garrett 18 gold.
I found the CS buckle with the I found the CS buckle with an AT Pro though.
Oh, okay, the AT Pro.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that Pro is definitely a workhorse. But yeah, you really like the AT Gold. I know that the AT Gold is very similar to the Garrett AT Max, which I really don't have. I think I've used the AT Gold maybe twice, actually, but very similar to the AT Max. But I love my AT Max, so I use it yesterday, in fact.
Oops, sorry. I know that the numbers are basically the same as the AT Pro, but you get a little more clearer sound when it's something good. Because remember that I did everything by sound, for 15 years, really.
Right.
So if it's interesting, and I always dig the aluminum because it's such a sweet, sweet sound. And you never know what you're going to find. I always think that it's going to be a piece of gold.
That way.
Yep.
For sure. So, tell us about, we know you're heading to the Degaz hunt this coming weekend. And then after that, we know that you're coming to my hunt in Texas. And what's your plans after that? Where are you heading?
Well, I will come back here, get a few more hunts in, and it's been 3 years or 4 years since I have been to the Treasure Salvers Picnic in Sebastian, Florida. So, years gone by, I like to just flip the burgers and the hot dogs, and that way I'm guaranteed to see everybody there, because it has really grown quite a bit. And I get to see all my friends and, some of the legends that have done the Etosha hunts, the diving and the 1715 Fleet Boys. So I'll go flip burgers and hot dogs. And I'm looking forward to that. That's the last Saturday in April. So I'll be sure to see Dwight and the New Age Goonies, because he's a part of that now, and just longtime friends since like 2005, 2006. And then after that, the next 2 weeks after that, I'll kind of lay low, pack up my gear, and go up to northern Michigan and spend 6-7 months with my mom.
Wow.
And then I'll be...
So will you be doing any detecting up there as well in Michigan?
Well, I got a buddy. He will be 84 this year, and I've metal detected some lumber camps, and he and I make sure that we go out like every week. But my little tiny house is on a 6 chains of lake. So we usually in the afternoons, last year when I was working on the tiny house, He'd come get me because he know I'd just work and work, and we'd go